This video is on question 9 of the 2012 TSA paper. And here we're asked which option, if true, most weakens the argument. And this is the passage that we're given. So in sentence 1 of the passage, we're told that in some countries, hunting clubs can be arranged for members to hunt just about anything that moves on land. And despite the high cost of these clubs or hunts, they have grown in popularity as rich businessmen look for new ways to entertain their clients. The author notes that endangered species of bears are often the target of these hunts, and so there is a risk that these bears or species of bears will become extinct. And finally, the author says that the growth of these clubs should be opposed. So that's the passage we're given. Now, in some TSA questions, we're not given an argument in the passage, or at least we're not given the whole of an argument. In, for example, questions where we're asked to draw a conclusion from a passage, the conclusion is found in the options rather than the passage. But in questions where we're asked which option most weakens or strengthens the argument, we're going to find a whole argument in the passage. And so a good way of getting to grips with this argument is to identify the conclusion. So have a go at trying to identify the conclusion from these 4 boxes. Well, the conclusion is the part of the argument that's supported by the rest of it. And in this case, that seems to be the 4th sentence here. The growth of these clubs should be opposed. And what are the reasons given for the view that they should be opposed? Well, the reason given by the author is that they are threatening species of bears with extinction. Now, one might think that another reason that the growth of these clubs should be opposed is that they've grown in popularity. However, this is a reason only insofar as it affects the extent to which certain species of bears are threatened with extinction. The author's not going to care about the popularity of these clubs, except insofar as the popularity has an effect on these endangered species that they're talking about. So sentence 3 is really the only reason given for the conclusion. So the argument looks something like this. The hunts threaten to make certain species of bears extinct, and this means that the hunts should be opposed. So we're going to take a look at the options now, and we're looking for the one that most weakens this argument. So here we have our 5 options, and here we have the argument. So let's go through each option in turn. Option A says that motorsports, for example, significantly damage the environment, but motorsports aren't opposed. Now, just because motorsports aren't opposed, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be, and so it definitely doesn't mean that hunts shouldn't be opposed. And so A is simply irrelevant. It doesn't affect the argument. What about option B? This says that the high cost of the hunts mean that few people are taking part in them. Now let's see our argument to see if this option weakens it. Now, if few people are participating in the hunts, then this suggests that the bears may be at less risk of extinction. And so this would seem to weaken the argument. However, it's perfectly consistent with option B being true, that the bears are still at risk of extinction. Perhaps only a few people participating is enough for certain species of bears to be threatened with extinction. And so, although B weakens the argument, it seems only to do so to a small extent. So let's carry on looking at the options and see if there's one which weakens it more than B. Option C says the population of endangered bears has not changed significantly since these hunting clubs were first formed. Well, let's take a look at our argument. If the hunts haven't in the past affected the population of endangered bears, then it seems very implausible that the hunts threaten to make certain species of bears extinct, or at least it makes it significantly less likely that this is the case. And so C seems to weaken the argument quite a bit. It seems to take away the author's reason for holding that the hunts should be opposed. So let's quickly look at D and E. D says that there are lots of other ways for these businessmen to entertain their clients. Now, it doesn't really matter if there are lots of other ways for the businessmen to entertain their clients. The fact is, they're choosing to entertain their clients this way. The author is not concerned with what the businessmen could be doing. They're concerned with what the businessmen are doing. And so D is irrelevant. What about option E? This says that many hunters kill animals other than those they target on their hunts. Well, if they're killing bears and other animals, which option E suggests, then we have even more of a reason to say that the hunts should be opposed. And so option E actually seems to strengthen the argument. And so that leaves option C as the option which most weakens the argument.